And a warm welcome to News Desk. You're live on the Joy News channel, your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. My name is Benjamin Akako. Now coming up, over 3,000 residents of Keta coastline displaced by tidal waves. We take you live to the community to assess the extent of damage and how city authorities are responding to the devastation caused. Now, students picked up in connection with the stabbing to death of an SHS 1 student of the Konongo SHS Senior High School are to appear in court. We bring you live updates of that. And Madina MP Francis Xavier Susu is expected to appear in court over what the police claim is his instigation of blocking roads and destruction of public property during a protest by members of his constituency to demand better roads. Also in this bulletin, CIMG touts Joy Brand's Radio Gets Results jingle as impacting lives while adjudging the Equisisen show on Asempa FM as CIMG Radio Program of the Year, the second of such honors in 3 years. We bring you details of these and more. We have details plus business and sports all in this hour.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Well, we start from the Madina MP, Francis Xavier Susu, who is expected to appear in court today over a demonstration he led in his constituency in Madina. That, however, may not happen as the MP is currently out of the country. The embattled MP was supposed to show up in court to answer the charges leveled against him by the Ghana Police Service. The police secured the criminal summons against the MP after all attempts to arrest him for his alleged breach of the law proved unsuccessful. On October the 25th, the MP led some of his constituents to demonstrate against poor roads in the constituency. Part of the protest turned violent when the police attempted to arrest the lawmaker, accusing him of blocking a highway and destroying public property. My colleague Joseph Akable was in court this morning and joins us live with the latest. Joseph, thank you for connecting. We understand that hearing will not happen today, as was previously thought. Tell us more about that.
And so just when the court called for the case to be heard, ASP Sylvester Sari, who is the police prosecutor, informed the court that they had received a letter from the Speaker of Parliament. This letter, in simple terms, communicates to the police that the MP was out of the country on parliamentary business. And so the police prosecutor said that they were bringing that to the attention of the court and to ask for an adjournment, because once the MP is informally informed that he was not available, it meant that proceedings could not take place. And so they communicated that to the court, and the court proceeded to adjourn proceedings to November 16th, Benjamin. So that is by way of what transpired in court. But outside the courtroom itself, a few of the constituents of Madina showed up here in solidarity with their member of parliament. And all they are saying is that as far as they are concerned, they have not committed any crime, and we simply wanted those to be fixed, and demonstrations are quite normal in our part of the world, in their opinion. And so they say that they don't see why their MP should even be brought to court for this reason. So they are asking that they expect the state to drop the case against them.
So that is the latest coming our way from Joseph Akable, who is alive in the court now. Joseph, if you could just reiterate, I missed briefly, the date you gave in November. Can you go over that date for us, when the adjournment will happen?
So the matter has been adjourned to November 16th.
Right.
And the expectation of the police administration and the prosecutors who are handling this case is that on that day, the Madina MP will show up in court.
Right. And so the Madina MP will have his day in court. Joseph, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on that development. And that is on the back of what actually has been transpiring on the back of the activities, the demonstration in which the Member of Parliament for Madina, Francis Xavier Susu, actually participated. Now we move on from there and talk about. Let's get into some COVID-related news now. And the minority in Parliament is urging its colleagues from the majority caucus to back the push for a probe into government's COVID-19 expenditures. Now, according to the North Tongue MP, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, the probe into the procurement of the Sputnik V vaccines established massive breaches of the procurement law, plus attempted thievery, arguing that must form a basis for a broader probe into the MPP administration's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. 3 minority members, including the minority leader Haruna Idrisu, have filed a private member's motion asking Parliament to constitute a committee to investigate government over these expenditures. In an interview with Okudzeto-Ablakwa, he observed that he expects the NPP MPs to join the quest for accountability if government has nothing to hide.
Talking about billions of Ghana cedis. So there ought to be full accountability. That is why we are saying that it is crucial that we have one full-scale coordinated probe. We shouldn't have a piecemeal approach. Yes, Sputnik V, there was some agency, there was a special case. I know of another motion pending, which I was a sponsor on Frontiers. But you see, how many different probes are you going to have? That is why we thought that by way of strategy, let us have a coordinated and overarching, a wider probe that will look at the entire, because if you look at our COVID-19 response in Ghana, it has been very multi-sectorial, cutting across varying ministries, departments, and agencies. And I believe that if government has nothing to hide, and that our colleagues on the other side of the aisle take the view that their colleagues in the executive have conducted themselves above board, they should even be in a hurry to support us.
You want them to support this bill?
They must support us. If they have nothing to hide, they must support us. I mean, we have seen what has happened in other jurisdictions. In South Africa, it was the president himself. President Ramaphosa did not wait for the South African Parliament to initiate a probe. He took measures. In the UK, I know that President Boris Johnson, Prime Minister Boris Johnson, has announced that he's going to have more probes beyond the initial ones that have been organized. So if you have nothing to hide, you should welcome this. So I am expectant that our colleagues on the other side will join us on this quest to seek accountability. And look, the amount of money in question is no joke. We are talking about billions of Ghana cedis. And so we cannot have a situation where all of these billions that have been spent in the name of COVID-19 response, there is no accountability. That cannot be accepted.
And so that is Okudzeto-Ablakwa. Meanwhile, flag bearer of the All People's Congress, Hassan Ayariga, has backed the minority in their quest to demand accountability over COVID expenditure.
You see, there is something we call accountability. Whatever you do, you have to account to the people. And if minority is asking government to account to the people on the COVID expenditure, I think it's normal. Whether people have gotten medications or not, we must hold our government responsible for things they do. It is necessary. It is not about minority. It is for government to also come out and tell us their expenditure on COVID and what they have done with COVID money so far. The stimulus packages, the hospitals they said they are building, how many so far, how much has gone into the building of the Agenda 88 hospitals and all that. It's part of COVID funds. So I think that it's necessary for us to have updates on things, not only on COVID alone. Even that's why I said that the president needs to continue to give us the updates on COVID cases. Now they don't say it anymore. People think that because the president will not give us updates, COVID is gone. COVID is not gone. Go to the hospital, people are dying on a daily basis, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's saying anything. We are reducing every day. The numbers are going down. And the numbers of COVID are going high. And Ghanaian numbers are going down. We are dying. And nobody's saying anything.
Now from COVID-19, we move on to other stories, and we start from the 5 Konongo Dumasi Senior High School students who were arrested for allegedly stabbing a Form 1 student, leading to his death. They are in court this morning, November 8. According to the Ghana Police Service, the suspects, who are Form 2 students of the said school, went on a bullying spree on the night of Friday, November 5, after prep hours leading to the attack on the deceased Samuna Larhan. The deceased, aged 17, was rushed to the Konongo Dumasi Government Hospital for treatment, but was pronounced dead on arrival. We'll take you live to the court for updates, but first let's bring you a recap of Saturday's incidents. There's more in the following report.
So inside the school campus, this serves as a place where they sell food and other items for the students. And the misunderstanding that ensued started from here. This is where the student was stabbed, and so you can see the blood stains on the ground and over there. And this is where he slumped after being stabbed by the student.
So we came to the dormitory and we saw that the Form 3 students...
This student witnessed the incident.
They caught one Form 1 and they hold his shirt that he should remove the shirt for him. And the boy was saying that he would not do it. He was challenging the Form 2s. So they got angry and one removed belt that he used to lash the Form 1 student. So I saw that Tupac, the one who was holding the knife, removed the knife and he used to choke Sabat. So we saw that he has fallen down here and the blood was flowing.
Police say the deceased, Samuna Lam, was stabbed after preventing the suspect from slapping one of his colleagues. DSP Osei Edwajiman is Konongo District Police Commander.
The deceased, who was stabbed, was rushed to Konongo Dumasi Government Hospital. But unfortunately, on his arrival, the doctors pronounced him dead. In all, we have 5 suspects arrested.
Though calm has returned to the school, police say they intend to patrol the campus to maintain sanity.
We want to maintain patrol throughout the night, today, tomorrow, for 1 week, at least, to avert any such dangers.
Headmaster of the school, Dr. Benjamin Kwekuba, is pledging the school's support in police investigations.
I want to assure the public that the school will give its maximum support towards the investigation of the case.
Meanwhile, family of the deceased are seeking justice, but uncle of the slain Samuna Laram, Abubakar Lamin, has this message for the suspect.
Where he has sent the boy, he will also definitely go there. Killing is not the solution of everything. Patience is the way to go.
4 second-year students have also been arrested to assist in investigations. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Konongo, Ashanti region.
Let's take you live now to the court, where my colleague Erastus Asaredonko reports that the judge has served notice that because the suspects are juveniles, the case will be heard in camera and counsel will brief the media afterwards. We're joined now by Erastus. What's the status of proceedings, Erastus, as of this morning?
Well, so you just said it right. The court is sitting in camera as we speak. The suspects were brought in about 30 minutes ago. The media was prevented from filming, even outside the court, their entry. And the commander himself approached us, indicating that because of their juvenile nature, they will not allow us to even film their exit from the court as well. Currently, as we speak, even the windows of the court have been shut as the case sits in camera. And so we are waiting outside the courtroom of the Konongo District Court, awaiting when the case is over. We've been promised that briefing will be done by the police or counsel for the accused person. But we saw them enter, 5 of them, with handcuffs, and they entered through the back door of the court and are currently before the court as we speak.
Right before I let go of you, Erastus, what was the mood? I mean, when you saw them, facial expressions and all, now that they are in court for this matter, what do the students look like?
So they came in an unmarked police vehicle, and their heads were bowed as they exited from the vehicle one by one, entering the courtroom through the back door. And what I catch the glimpse of, one was wearing a singlet, a white singlet. The other one in front was wearing a white shirt. And they followed in that order, entering the courtroom. So their heads were bowed, and they looked very sober as they entered the courtroom. We have quite a number of relatives of these students who have gathered outside the courtroom as well, waiting for the outcome of today's proceedings.
Do stay with us, Erastus, and let's just flow with this. Meanwhile, the stabbing to death of the SHS1 student has brought to the fore the need for a conversation on ending bullying in schools, particularly. Joining us is Mr. Edwin Sapon-Boakye, who is the interim General Secretary of the Conference of Heads of Basic Schools. Thank you, sir, for the time. Thank you for joining the conversation. How exactly do we end bullying in schools? If you can hear me, sir, please unmute so we can hear exactly what you're saying. You're communicating with us. So we shall try to get the connection working with our resource person. Hello, sir. Thank you for joining the conversation. Hello. If you can hear me now.
Thank you, sir.
Great. So I was asking straight to the good morning to you, sir. How do we end bullying in our schools?
Good morning, sir. In fact, it's so pathetic when I heard this. And looking at bullying in our schools, we don't know how to end it, because these days, the students of these days are so radical and so harsh that you don't know how. A student holding a knife to stab somebody is so pathetic. So what we are talking about is, in fact, we don't know if they are coming from their homes. These problems are coming from their homes. We don't know. Because these are the students that we have built them from the JHS level. And when they are at the JHS level, they are not like that. They don't behave like that. But when they get to the secondary school, their lives change. So we don't know how they are doing and what is going on over there.
Is that to say that as far as...
drugs, I don't know if they...
Right. Is that to say that as far as you're concerned, the project to end bullying, I mean, that you don't really see the way forward when it comes to that? If these students just pick up these habits when they get into senior high school, how tricky is it going to be to find a solution to that?
I think at our level at the basic school, we need to advise our students, talk to them, try to counsel them, so that they will get that behavior at the basic level. So that when they get to the SS level, they will use that counseling and guidance that we give them to move on to the SS level. Right. I think that will also do. So it's a big challenge for we, the heads of the basic schools, to do that for our students.
Thank you, Mr. Boakye, for that submission.
That will also bring down those activities.
Right. Also joining us live on the subject is Bright Appiah. He is Executive Director of Child Rights International. Thank you, Mr. Appiah, for your time. Now, your first word on this sad development. What do you have to say? Can you hear me, Mr. Appiah? Please unmute. Please unmute so we can hear you, sir.
Okay, sorry for that.
Right. I'm
saying that it's unfortunate that we have to lose a life out of this. The life of every child matters to this country, and their development is what we should be concerned about. But it's unfortunate. But whatever it is, we also need to do diagnosis of the real issues that we are confronted with, so that we can give a good training to our children.
It appears we have looked on for so long when it comes to this issue of bullying in schools. Why is that?
Well, it is so because we've not paid a critical attention to its outcomes or what it can potentially bring to us. And this, I'm saying, there's not only in the context of Ghana, but it's a global problem that we all face. Because when you go to US, for instance, children who are bullied every year, if you look at the statistics, it cannot be compared to what we go through here. You go to France, you go to Germany, you go to UK. Bullying is a major issue that they are dealing with. It's a policy issue that they are trying ways and means to engage the clinical psychologists to find solutions to it and all that. So it's not just an ordinary situation that we can just place on the table and say that this is how we want to handle it. But it needs a lot of thinking. It needs a policy direction. It needs diagnosis for us to properly understand it, because the issue of bullying, if you compare to other countries, we can say that we have not gotten to a level where the outcome will be so scary. But whatever it is, once some of these activities are giving us outcomes, then we have to be worried about, because bullying itself is not what will kill people, but it is the outcome of it that results into this kind of thing. So, for instance, if they've been able to cause harm to a child, then they have moved from bullying to what we call the corporal punishment. So what it means is that children are taking corporal punishment in their own hands and then unleashing it on their fellow colleagues. And this is very common, because if you look at what results in people acquiring behavior as a result of bullying, it is psychological. So until we tackle that aspect of it, engage our children through rehabilitation programs, it will be very difficult for us to deal with this issue on the surface, because it's a human behavior that we need to deal with.
In our context, Mr. Appiah, what specifically can be done? You have spoken about policies. What should go into some of those policies? Some have said that parenting should also, come into question. What sort of parenting is being given to some of these students in their homes? What is your take on that?
Yeah, I think that when you look at the triangle, when it comes to resolving some issues relating to bullying, you can't take the parent out of it. They are the first entry point into dealing with the issue. So the way and manner they handle children at home, the way and manner they conduct themselves in the presence of children is the first step in dealing with this particular issue. So we have always called for the state having a policy on parenting. We don't have one as we speak. Even advanced countries where children, we so believe that children have the right to do whatever they want to do. There are clear line policies on parenting, what parent can do, what a child can do, and then the outcome that the state expects that everybody will contribute to and all that. So parenting is very, very critical. We've made the environment so loose for parents to decide what they feel like. Any morning that they wake up, what they feel like doing to their children, that is what they do. So that makes that entry point very loose. So once the entry point is very loose, then you are causing a burden on our social safety net, because there are going to be a lot of children within that social safety net. And if you don't have the system to deal with it, then gradually you are breaking the social safety net. And when that happens, these are some of the outcomes that we'll see. So parenting is very key. And once even if you have the policy in place, there will still be fallout issues. There are people who, irrespective of what you do, they will still fall within the social safety net. And when they do, then the good news that we have to count on is that we'll have a few number of people that we can deal with within our social safety net. So within the social safety net itself, there should be programs. And the first program that I will say we should have to put in place is for us to have centers that will diagnose issues for our children. So when you go to the secondary school, for instance, we have to add value to the counseling unit that we have so that they can do proper diagnosis of children's social behavior. Then they can correct it as and when they showcase some of these. So system that we have to put in place for us to work with should be in place. Otherwise, this is not an issue that we can talk about. It's a psychological. So if you don't deal with the root causes, we will still talk about it and we'll still be getting the results.
Thank you, Mr. Appiah, for sharing your thoughts with us on this matter. Executive Director, Child Rights International. We also have Mr. Edwin Boakye still with us. Mr. Boakye, so what would be your chief takeaways, or what do you feel moving forward we ought to be doing to stem the tide of these happenings in our schools? Please unmute for us, Mr. Boakye.
I agree with my brother. I agree with my brother by talking about parenting. Parenting is also the problem. Now the parents have left everything to the teachers to do it for them. But those days, we're being advised in our homes. So when you are going to school, your parents will tell you whatever you want, you have to do. And when we get there, we listen to them, the advice that they will give us. So I think parenting is also another solution that we have to look at it. And as my brother said, look at bullying have turned to a certain level. By this time, going to the extent of using a knife. In fact, we need psychologists and guidance and counseling in our schools, especially with the basic schools. We are having a lot of problems because we don't have these people. So if we get those people at our end and counsel our students, especially the form 3 who are going to write their exams, when they are being counseled and so forth, they will get all those advices so that when they get to the secondary school, they will not involve themselves into those activities. I think that will, when we start from that area, we can come to an end to this bullying.
Well, myriad proposals.
So
let's see.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us, Mr. Boakye, there. And moving on from one situation, we go to another thorny one, and it has to do with the municipal chief executive for Keta, Emmanuel Gamega, who says the central government and other benevolent organizations must urgently come to the aid of residents in the municipality after strong tidal waves swept homes away yesterday. Joy News correspondent Ivy Setoji reports that thousands of people have been forced out of their homes due to flooding from the waves. We'll hear from the municipal chief executive shortly, but first, here's a resident who says they've lost everything to the tide.
We are homeless and our daily activities are affected by the waves. We are hoping that help comes through you, the DC.
And so that was a resident. We can now hear from the MCE, Emmanuel Gamega, who's appealing for immediate support.
The seawater has entered their rooms, their homes, and they have been dislodged. So schools, this has affected about 3 electoral areas around the coast within the municipality. And it's a very, very serious situation that we have experienced over here. Though we know it's a perennial situation, but this year's one, it has delayed, so we're not even expecting it to happen again. But just to see this happening this morning is very devastating, and we can only call for help, an emergency help from anybody, from the government, and then from individual philanthropists, NGOs, when you are seeing us, because the people have been dislodged, their rooms, their kitchen, their economic activities have been disrupted. Therefore, it's very, very important that we come to their aid as early as possible. Whole farms have been swept away, and for now, everybody is perplexed.
Well, let's take you live now to Keta, where my colleague Maxwell Agbagba joins us live with more. Maxwell, do tell, where exactly are you and what have you observed about this very, tricky situation?
Well, we are here in Keta South, specifically at Salakope. It is one of the communities that were affected by the tidal flooding yesterday. What we are seeing today is the receded water. The water has receded, but many of the residents are still counting their losses. Visiting some of the homes here in Salakope, many of them have brought out their wet clothes, wet personal effects, which were affected by the tidal flooding that they experienced yesterday. So for residents of Salakope, it is not just a one-day phenomenon. They have to endure this. It's a perennial occurrence such that the community itself is currently at risk of being submerged under the seawater. Now, critical infrastructure here have been affected. In fact, school buildings have been affected. And in fact, the community cemetery here in this community is also affected by the perennial tidal flooding that happens here. So this is the community cemetery, which is just about 100 meters away from the ocean itself. I'm told by community members here that that wasn't the case. This cemetery was actually very, very far away from the ocean. But now the sea is getting closer, and now the cemetery itself is at risk of being submerged underwater. Let me speak to this man who is digging a grave here. Let me find out from him. Sir, what's your name?
Fanyo Sabuki.
Okay. So this is an active cemetery, right? You still bury people here? Thank you because Coca-Cola skeleton and Coca-Cola ham. Well, essentially what he's saying is that because of the tidal flooding and because the high tide is affecting the cemetery here, what they are doing is that for people who have been buried very close to where the ocean is coming to now, they would have to pick their skulls, pick parts of the bodies, the skull and then other body parts, and then bury it here in this grave. And that is what he's doing right now. This is not the only thing that is affected here in this community. In fact, the road here, which links Keta and other communities, is also at risk. It's also at risk. Now, yesterday, this whole stretch was actually blocked, and residents fear that when it happens again, they may be cut off from the rest of the country. I have the municipal chief executive here with me. I'll be speaking to him shortly. But first, let me speak to the chief fisherman, who is also here. Let's interact with him and find out from him. Yeah, Tagbi Maraku. Maraku va close, yeah. Okay. Tagbi, please, what's your name?
Togbi Emmanuel Lanumutete, chief fisherman in Salakope Land Beach.
Okay. Togbi ma loba mia do nyame na kaka join you style na mia do yevba. Manyaba se yevba.
Majagba.
Oh, great. But kindly tell us, what was the situation yesterday here in Salakope? You're the chief fisherman.
The situation yesterday has been worse than any other day. Almost about a year now, we the people living along here, Salakope, part of Agavaji and Amutinu, we are not stable at all. The tidal wave has been troubling us. We don't even know where to go because the other side of the road is a lagoon, where we had wanted to run to. But the sea is now entering the lagoon. And the other, you can see, it's also flooded. Nowhere for us to go.
So the community is trapped between the ocean and then the lagoon.
Keta lagoon. That is exactly what we are experiencing here. And due to that, our what we do for a living has come to a standstill. Because you can't go for fishing in a rough sea. You can't do that. I could remember even yesterday, the sea itself took our canoe, which with the boat, the canoe with the net inside, threw it itself for us to come and haul. So you see about at least about 20 nets nearly got missing yesterday. Had it not been an intervention of the fisher folks, the sea will take the nets away, and we can't find it anymore. So that is the thing we are experiencing here.
Yeah.
We are having a problem.
And for you, it's not just your fishing equipment which is affected. Where you live also, your building is also affected.
You came to my house now, you got me up from bed because I was wet. Yesterday I was wet. And this is the time for me to be relaxing. That's the time you came in. Yeah. My building, 9 rooms has gone submerged into the sea. My junior brother's one, the whole family. We don't have any place. You can't lodge anywhere except the church room. That's the place we are lodging now. Yeah. And during the day, you see us around the street here, moving. But in the night, you can't get any of us along the street here. Okay. You see us pack ourselves like sardine in the church room. Okay. That is exactly what is happening. Okay.
So we're going to have an extensive conversation on this, but we have the MC also here, Maxwell Lugutor. He's also here. Let's speak to him let's speak to him and then find out from him what he's also doing to help residents who are living in this community. We are told that some of them are actually living in a church nearby, and then some also some distance away from where we're standing. So you're welcome to join us.
Thank you so much.
What briefing have you received about yesterday's tidal flooding of this community?
Thank you, and thank you so much, and good morning to your cherished viewers. I was here myself personally. Okay. The whole thing started Saturday morning, around 4 that way. The assembly member here called me, and I came personally. Saturday it was so bad. So we were trying to do everything possible. It's happening during the weekend to see how we can help the people. Only for me to be called Sunday morning again, the same time, 4:30 a.m. by the 3 assembly members. Yeah. When I came, it was so sad. It was so bad. You could see the sea crossing the main road, this Keta Aflau road, to the lagoon side. And almost every house here was flooded. I entered most of the houses, the rooms, to help them bring the things out. Some of the rooms I entered, the water reached my knee level. Wow. And it was so scary. At the back of some of the buildings, some of the guys who were helping me, when they entered, you could see the water reach their chest level. Whoa. I couldn't remove my dress to go in, so I was just around helping those who are outside. I want to take this opportunity to thank the police service, the fire service. They came to our help. Had it not been, they brought their machines, and the farmers around brought their machines for us to pump the water to the other side. It could have been bad, very bad.
But, so how many people are affected by this?
For now, according to the data given me by NADMO, I was here with him myself, we have 1,027 people affected severely.
Okay. And what is NADMO doing about the situation? You are on the ground. I've seen quite a number of people also trying to take the names of the people. What exactly are we doing to help?
I think NADMO, the director here, should be recommended. He has done well. He was with me throughout. We were here yesterday from morning up to, I left here around 2:30 that way. He's doing very well. We sat down to see what we can do, especially when the thing happened. People, their food, their drink, water to drink, and all were all affected. So I also spoke with the regional minister, who gave me directions what to do. Apart from that, the rooms, some of them are now sleeping at the church buildings. Okay. And then some of them are also perching at the friends' houses. But when I came, I discussed with the chiefs here, and they showed me a land, a place they have proposed, the island. We'll go there, you go and see the place. That they can, for now, do some temporary place for them, whilst the government do the bigger part. But that place, there are some works to be done there. For instance, the place have to be serviced. If I say service, it means there's no electricity there, there's no drinking water. And when you are going there too, you can see the lagoon. You have to cross the lagoon before you go there.
Yeah.
It means there are some things we have to do so that it can be accessible.
Yeah.
Those are the things we are quickly putting in place. We're having emergency music meeting this afternoon.
Okay.
And there are a lot of things for us to discuss. When I came here, as for me, I observe a lot. I want to let our indigenes know there is some sun winning going on at the beach side. It's not helping them.
Okay.
There's a saying in our language, when you are crying for the hawks too, you have to cry for the chicken too. Or when you are crying for the chicken, you have to cry for the hawks too.
Okay.
There is some serious sun winning going on. It seems people are bringing cement here to come and cut blocks. You could see there are some big holes.
Yeah.
So the waves, when the waves comes, it becomes stagnant at those places. So the next one that comes, it floods over.
Yeah.
So you know they see how it moves.
Yeah.
I will appeal to them. I'm not going to joke with these things. We'll discuss this today at the music meeting. We will stop everybody that will be doing that. It's not helping us.
Okay.
So that if you come, you bring your cement, we will arrest you. Because it's not helping all of us.
Okay.
People are now suffering out of those things. You know, the government is doing everything possible to help. The only solution, the best solution is the sea defense. But it's not an easy project because you can see where it's ended.
Yeah.
They can't do it and end at where the thing is happening now. They have to continue to Aflao border. Because when they end there, then Aflao people are in trouble. The same issue start happening.
Yeah.
So they have to do it at Aflao border. And they can't leave it at Aflao border without consulting the Togo counterparts. So it's a serious project on its own.
Yeah.
So
when are residents going to get some kind of relief? Or when are we looking at putting up a sea defense here? Because other critical infrastructure in this community being affected also. I mean, in terms of the road, this road, I'm told, connects to Keta and its environs. Yesterday, it was flooded. This road is likely to be washed away already. Some part of it is being washed away. So in terms of critical infrastructure, what are we doing to protect it as well?
I know before I came, I'm aware the Honorable Minister for Works and Housing, Honorable Asensu Boachin, was here. And with my discussion with the regional minister, I know there are plans on the way to solve this thing out. Okay. And I know very soon all things will be okay. This one too shall pass.
Okay. How soon will it pass?
Very soon, I know.
How soon is very soon?
Very soon, I still say very soon.
No, very soon. How soon is very soon?
Very soon.
January next year? January next year?
I can't say January next year or today, but very soon, trust me.
February?
Very soon.
March?
Very soon.
April?
Very soon.
May?
Very soon.
No, then that's not soon.
It might come before that time.
Soon.
It might come before that time. That is why I say very soon.
So what are we doing? What's the long-term solution? Is it going to be a sea defense?
Yes, that is what I said.
Okay.
Without sea defense, I think it's not going to help us.
Okay. Thank you very much for talking to us. So you had an MC for the area speaking to me, MC for K2 South. Well, what you can see right down, so this concrete blocks parked here, actually is owned by a resident of this community. The building was just about 50 meters away, just right behind this community cemetery. But that building collapsed, and I'm told that the owner has never been the same after his building collapsed. I'll get one of the residents to tell me more about this. So these are the remnants of that building that collapsed some months ago. Now the community cemetery that we are talking about, this is it. This is the community cemetery, which is located very close to the main road. Now, the residents have no choice but to do their own relocation of this particular cemetery. So the gentleman you saw me speaking to earlier, who was digging that grave, I interacted with him. He was telling me that because the tidal flooding is affecting the community cemetery and some of the remains of some of the ancestors, likely to be submerged underwater. So what they are doing is, for some of the graves that have been affected, they are digging out the parts of the body. So we're talking about the skulls and then the other parts, and then they will rebury them here. Now, the situation, the woes of the people here, it's compounded because, like you heard one of the residents say, they are trapped between the ocean and then the lagoon. So just about 100 meters away from where I'm standing, right behind this community cemetery, is the ocean. And on my right-hand side, just about 30 meters from where I'm standing, is the lagoon. The community people say that this whole community, this whole Salakopa community is at risk of being submerged underwater if no intervention comes in very quick. As I speak to you right now, people's livelihoods have been buried underwater. People have had their canoes, some of the residents have had their canoes buried underwater, houses here all buried under the ocean. So really that is the situation here, Benjamin. And right from here we'll be going to a church which is about 300 meters away from where I'm standing, and then another place which is serving as a shelter for the people who were affected by yesterday's tidal flooding here in this community at Salakope, Benjamin.
Right. Thank you so much, Maxwell Agbagba, for bringing us the scoop from there. He was bringing us the details from Salakope, which is actually en route to Keta. Now, two brands of the multimedia group, I'm talking about Joy and Adom, have received the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana National President's Special Awards 2020. The Ekosi show on Asempa FM has also been adjudged radio program of the year, the second of such honors in just 3 years. There's more in this report.
The citation starts by noting
what began as a single radio station in 1995 is today the nation's largest radio, television and online network in sub-Saharan Africa.
It further adds,
one of your key jingles Ghanaians have come to like is Radio Get Result, which has been used intricately to your advantage.
The citation goes on to list some of the many stories which have gotten results through the Joy platform,
including the visually impaired farmer in the Volta region whose plight was aired and as a result got accommodation. Story of an old woman suffering from leprosy in the Upper West region who got a home built for her by the Vice President following a Joy News report. Joy News campaign that raised 500,000 cedis for people affected by floods in the northern region, as well as the station's Drive Safe campaign, which the CIMG says has been very impactful.
Head of programs at Joy FM, Adam Naite, promised the brand will continue to do more to impact lives.
We are humbled and we're grateful to everybody, our clients, our audiences, and all over the world. We're grateful to everybody. And this only means that we need to continue to do more.
Host of Ekosi saying, Philip Osei-Bonsu, popularly known as Obi, also assured listeners the award will propel them to keep raising the bar.
To be honest, I'm very proud. I think this can only encourage us. Mekaise 2019, Bahaba Beji Radio Program of the Year, and 2021, so Yasen Babeji 2 times in 3 years, which is quite huge. At the MIA.
Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Mary Chinri-Hesse, who was a special guest of honor, urged companies to establish strong brands which will positively influence their clientele.
Brand management is so important. Whilst not playing anything down, that make sure that Ghana thrives in a competitive environment, because things Ghanaians are new and loved and wanted. And then we push and we'll be okay. We are very modest as Ghanaians. We don't blow our own trumpet. But in this very competitive world, please, let's put Christian modesty aside and boast a little bit. That's what I'm asking for.
Congratulations once again to Multimedia Joy Brands.
And right before we take a break for business, going back to that situation with regard to 5 students who were in court today on the back of that murder in the Konongo Dumasi Senior Secondary School or Senior High School, they have been remanded in police custody, and that is the latest. We take a break now for business.
What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Fisheries Commission says it will provide technical assistance to the youth who would want to engage in fish farming as a means to revamp the fisheries sector. Executive Director of the Fisheries Commission, Michael Atadazi, says aquaculture development remains at the heart of government, and resourcing entrepreneurial minds to engage in such profitable venture is the best way to go. The country's fish stock is still on a decline, and providing an alternative means of enhancing the livelihood of fishing communities has been highly recommended by international pro-fisheries agencies. Now, speaking at a tour of R&B farms, one of the biggest aquaculture development farms in Ghana, Michael Atadazi was upbeat Ghana's fisheries sector could be revamped. Richard Kojinyakun has more.
About a year ago, Mr. Kwanzaa and the brother Ben approached us at the commission, and they said they wanted to help solve the fish deficit problem, which is happening as a result of the overfishing and overexploitation of our marine resources. And we saw that was a valuable idea. One, because he's an indigenous Ghanaian who has the resources and would want to invest.
Executive Director of the Fisheries Commission, Michael Atadazi, explaining how the Fisheries Commission got associated with the R&B farms. He says the commission realized the move by the company would help a great deal with the dwindling fish stock in Ghana and aid the youth to explore the option.
We felt that it was good. So we brought staff here to come and do the soil profiling and testing and also the water quality, and realized that the area is very good for aquaculture enterprise. So we gave him the necessary expertise, necessary know-how. We brought staff to come and assist him with the construction. And I must say that the fruits of that labor is what he can do is to give the know-how, give the technical support to ensure that at least standard support scheme, which constitutes about 30% of the cost of production, we are giving that to you free. So I think that is also a support that we need to recognize and appreciate.
The farm specializes in catfish farming and has put in place mechanisms to produce more to add on to the fish stocks produced from the ocean. Operations Manager of R&B Farms, Benjamin Texan, says the inland fish farming they are currently running would help solve huge challenges confronting Ghana's fisheries sector, as well as create jobs for the youth.
Let's take the secondary schools or SHS. Thank God all of them have secured parameters. That is, their schools, most of them are fenced. So it's a very good environment to have this. You bring the agricultural teachers here for 2-3 weeks training. They go with their tarpaulin tanks, their fingerlings, and then we supply them with the feed. They set up their schedule, maybe Monday, SHS 1, Tuesday, SHS 2, or whatever. These kids will go feed the fish, change the water, culture them. Within 4 or 5 months, they see that the fish is ready for the canteen or the dining hall, or the teachers can even sell them and then put the money back into the business. Now, you have put this type of vocation in the minds of the kids. As soon as they finish school, they know that there's something I can go into.
Central Regional Minister Justina Marigood-Hassan called on the youth to explore the fishing avenue to get employed.
Really interested because looking at the program they are running here, they are even going to prepare their own feeding for the animals. The fingerlings, they are going to raise them from here. They are not going to bring them outside the facility where there are a lot of diseased animals and all of that. So it's a very good practice. We are praying that most farmers will also learn from this exercise and then scale it up with the whole region.
It is the expectation of the R&B farms to create nearly 10 million jobs in 10 years. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kojinyakun, Cape Coast.
And that's all for business. We will be right back.
Thank you very much for staying with us right here on Joy News Desk. You can go to myjoyonline.com for many more stories that are trending there. Some of them this hour. Francis Xavier Sosu is out of the country. Speaker Bagbin tells police we follow proceedings in court. That and many more stories on myjoyonline.com. Thank you for your company.